maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jerome?
So my relationship, nothing. He's a tenant in my place. Yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes. Yes. He is a friend of ours. His father was here from many years ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he lives next door to you.
Yes.
You know, he was able to arrange meetings and catch-ups with you at any point in the day. He claims
as a friend, yeah.
He claims that through his very close relationship with you, he's able to get any deal done.
Well, I don't know
and
if that's
able to change laws for investors.
But then which law has been changed for any investor?
So Sue told us that if you want to get anything done in Ghana, you need some hookups. I'm very close with the Vice President and the other officials. The Vice President and I share a very close relationship. Also, if we do the business, he'll help out no matter what. There's no one else who can help like he does. He also said us when he's talking about prospect investors that the Vice President said he can change the Constitution. He said he can manage. Everything is going to be done soon. He's really treating us as brothers. He's already trying to help us as much as possible. Of course, I need to give back to him in return.
Yeah, but that is, I don't know about giving back, but I do that to everybody who comes to my office. The American companies come here to see me, and they need a meeting. You asked to see.
Lies, 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 and pure lies. Good morning, all of you guys. We're going to be on just for probably not more than half hour. And so I'm just going to read some of your comments and say good morning to you guys. Whatever is on your mind, talk to me. Let me know what is on your mind. What is bothering you? We know Guyana is where it is, but we just cannot put our hands up. We just cannot surrender. We cannot surrender to those Nimakarams in office, and we cannot surrender to those trench crappos and Nimakarams who are attempting to, in their recruiting drive, so to speak. You know what I mean, right? Well, good morning to all of you. I don't know why the operator Lemon doesn't want my face to be shown. I just don't know why. But in the meanwhile, let me just welcome all of you. Every single one of you, wherever you are, we just say good morning. If we start calling names, everybody's going to be upset that their names weren't called or whatever. Say, for example, if we mention Hazel Rankin's name, people are going to get upset. If we mention Greta Lynch's name, people are going to get upset. If we mention Casey Williams' name, people are going to get upset. If we mention Desiree Simon's name, people are going to get upset. And we don't want people to get upset. If we mention Nadira Sukraj's name, people are going to get upset. Petula Boy's name, people are going to get upset. Michelle Semple's name, people are going to get upset. I don't know. So we might as well not mention any names at all. None whatsoever. I'm still not showing my faces yet, but good morning to you guys. Look, I just got on here because I want to talk to you. Some of you who may have missed this and the importance of this here. Government, meaning the installed regime, vows to fight judges' ruling ordering Exxon to fully compensate Guyana for oil spill. And we see there in the smaller right-hand side, opposition says appeal is an unpatriotic move. Appeal is an unpatriotic move. I repeat, you're seeing it there. This is no propaganda, because you know they love to jump up and say, oh, it's propaganda. Oh, this is propaganda or whatever. That's what they love to say. That's precisely what they love to do, to say that it is propaganda, and that the few of us on social media fighting against Jack Diel and the corrupt PPP regime, the racist apartheid PPP regime. Note that Jack Diel not so long ago said that they're losing the battle. They're losing the social media battle. And so they may have sent out their Facebook mercenaries. You know what I mean? Thinking that they can confront us. Thinking that they can confront us. Because when you confront one, you've got to be prepared to confront thousands. I hope they got the message. I hope those Facebook mercenaries got the message. Here's a name that always makes me laugh. I don't know if it's G1 or J1, but J1, G1. Bundari, good morning. This got enough laugh. They're going to get serious backlash from their own supporters. That is so true. Bundari. You know, I like tease Bundari, right? Good morning, Bundari. Good morning to all of you guys. Good morning, Rhonda Lane as well. Rhonda Lane is saying, happy arrival day to my Indian family in Guyana. Coming from Rhonda Lane. The other day, a couple of them cussing out poor Rhonda Lane because Rhonda was expressing herself, not attacking any particular race, just expressing herself. Happy arrival day to all Guyanese. Except, of course, everybody else came to Guyana and met the indigenous people. But the indigenous people came from somewhere, though, right? Somewhere. But we're talking about those we know arrived. And I say that not to disrespect any of our indigenous brothers and sisters watching this program. Of course, I have a heck of a lot of indigenous relatives out in Region 10, Region 1, and all over, man. Even, what's this place? Oriala, a beautiful place, Oriala. I bet Brenda Casey has never gone to Oriala. Palm Halls and them never gone to Oriala. Patricia Botchway never gone to Oriala. Marlon Lorimer never gone to Oriala. But Bundari song, and he looks, Bundari song like the type of straight knockabout all over Guyana. I'm sure Bundari must have gone. But anyways, good morning again to all of you guys. Somebody says here, more Kieran Chisholm. It's got to be a country name, probably from Manchester, Liverpool, or Ulverston. More Kieran Chisholm. What sort of MS may I read in the headlines? This is the most unpatriotic move ever. Yes, it is the most unpatriotic move ever. Thank you, more Kieran Chisholm. But can anybody, the last, well, I got a Medal of Service. Oh, yeah. This is going to hurt some people. This is going to hurt Copenman. Oh, yes, I got a Medal of Service. And is that what MS stands for? Medal of Service? Can someone in the comment section please break it down for me? What sort of MS may I read? What is MS, please? Seriously. Can somebody break it down for me? Good morning. Finally, Lemon removed the headline over my face. But can somebody read what exactly, what is MS? I'm looking at your comments. You know, by the way, forget it. I already know what MS. Come on, I already know that. You know, these days people are all into people's mother because, you know, real men don't curse people's mother, right? But I know what MS. Oh, MS. These things. I already know what that is. But we are nice people. But we could get into the gutter, you know. We could get into serious guerrilla gutter warfare, you know. We could do that. Don't press the button. You know, they got a reggae song, I'm sure. Bundari knows everything. Forget about Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk look like them old-fashioned, old-time guys who grew up with Jackie Chan movie, Bruce Lee movie, and watching the movie Kabi Kabi. Morning to you, Tony, as well. They get a reggae song by name, Not Touch Me Now. Not Touch Me. Not Touch Me Now. Good morning to you guys. It's Arrival Day. Whatever you want to put, whether it's Indian arrival, whether it's African arrival, whether it's Portuguese arrival. But today, May 5th, happens to be Arrival Day. And it happens to be my dad's birthday as well. So happy birthday to him. He's a little older than me. Arrival day. Here's what some people say that, and some people think. This is where I want some of the um, confused soup drinkers to understand that arrival day, all of us should be celebrating it. Yes, on this day, our Indian brothers and sisters, some of our relatives, we're all a mixing, melting pot, right? Came from India. The darkest spots of India arrived. Our ancestors came from China. They arrived. Our ancestors came from Portugal. They arrived. But listen to this here now. How many of you know? Let me see. Emily Durant, good morning to you, my sister. Good morning to you. Can we take this this comment about MS? I noticed somebody said, I know, and we all know what MS is. Oh, yes. Another one, MS. MS. Yeah, it's early in the morning, though, right? And so, how many of you guys know? Seriously, how many of you guys know that the first set? I'm not going to tell you guys anything. Who was the first set of indentured servants that arrived in Guyana? Who were the first set of indentured servants? Who were the first set of indentured servants arrive? Okay. Okay. Wait, we got some bright people here. I thought some of y'all went IFLAT University. We could rub each other a little bit, right? This is not a place where people are sensitive and then their bumps raise and then they go on crazy, mad, right? We can rub each other. Nadira Sokraj, man. Nadira Sokraj, good morning to you, Nadia. How are you doing? All the way in Essequibo. Good morning. Let's see what can we give Nadira here as a present. We got to give Nadira something. We got to, because we just got a few minutes. We have a few minutes here. We have to, and I want to ensure, because Nadira. Sorry about that, guys. Nadira, what's going on, Lemon? Come on, making it look like our studio is like a cow pen, when in fact it's not, right? Yeah. All right. So here's what I want to do with Nadira. Nadira got to get a present this morning, because Nadira is correct. The Africans, right? Nadira is correct. And some of you, I'll check back to see who else actually said the Africans. And if you said the Africans, you are indeed correct, just like Nadira Sokraj. Just like Nadira Sokraj is correct, because when slavery was quote unquote abolished, they had to keep up the work and the sugar work, the fields and all these sort of things, the plantations. They had to get workers, even though there were Africans who were working still for free. And that's how those who were able to save up lands and purchase lands throughout the villages and so forth and so on. Kudos. Africans are hardworking people. The first set of banking industry and saving and all these sort of things started with Africans. Anyway. But Sokraj, Nadira is correct. Somebody said the Portuguese came first. No. Africans came first as indentured servants. Africans were not forced into slavery in Guyana for 400 years, mind you, And the mindset of some of them still like it's set in a slavery mentality. They want our people to remain slaves, and so they could hug up and jump up and kiss up the oppressors. We're not like that. But those few set of people are the soft type. Easy, they lie down and they give it away. uh, their freedom away, just like that. And so, um, all right. So Tony Hack is saying the Mark the first to arrive, or forget about Columbus, man. Oh man, Tony Hack, don't make joke. It's too early for that. So the Africans were the first indentured servants to arrive in Guyana. 400 plus Africans came from West Africa, Ghana, and so forth. 400 plus Africans came. 400 as indentured servants. And then they started to expand and they went into India and China and so forth. And they had some Chinese indentured servants, and the Chinese indentured servants couldn't take it. But for 400 years, Africans, 400 years, a couple of days, the Chinese couldn't take it. They die out and so forth. The Portuguese, same thing, malaria and all manner of things. And then when our East Indian brothers and sisters arrived, a lot of them couldn't take it either. And so they got their strength from the Africans who have been there for hundreds of years, slaving and building that country. And so a lot of our East Indian brothers and sisters, a lot of the indentured servants had to embrace, and they were taught by the Africans. And so today, I want to wish all Guyanese, happy arrival day. Nadira Sukraj, you are correct. Happy arrival day. And for this year, since Nadira is correct, I want to play this song for Nadia, all the way from Essequibo. Forget about G1 Bundari and Francine Cruz and all of them, but I want to play this song for Nadira and all others who have appreciation for this sort of song, like I do, mind you. I love this one here. You're going to want to know what's the name of this song. And you can sing along if you want, right, Nadira? And others, we're going to teach them a little Hindi. It's Chadal Kitao Balama. Chodadiya Chagal Kitao Balama. So this one here is from Nadira and all others, every single one. Forget about Francine. Francine Cruz start off early this morning, early o'clock this morning. But let's go and let's play this, and I'll be right back.
चादर बिछाओ भलमा चौधरिया चादर बिछाओ भलमा रिंद रगे चल सोई रहना रिंद रगे चल सोई रहना चादर बिछाओ भलमा चौधरिया चादर बिछाओ भलमा रिंग लगी चल सोए रहना रिंग लगी चल सोए रहना चादर बिछाओ भलमा चौधरिया चादर बिछाओ भलमा रिंद लगे चल सोई रहना रिंद लगे चल सोई रहना चादर बिछाओ भलमा चौधरिया चादर बिछाओ भलमा रिंद लगे चल सोए.
Now, I've been put in my place. That's I decided to just play that for Nadira, and Nadira just gave me the biggest bump in my life. Nadira said, "This is not my type." Chadal Kitaho Balamama. Oh man, we all love that. We all know that. Happy arrival day to all our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Happy arrival day. You guys remember when I used to host Music Africa? How many of you guys remember Music Africa in Guyana? I'm not sure anybody else still plays African music in Guyana. Music Africa Music Africa. How many of you guys remember that? Music Africa. Music Africa. All right, so it's arrival day. Sorry about that. I'm looking for a nice. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. You know, it's just a couple of minutes, and yeah. So it's arrival day. Somebody's saying play Nadira some Vibes Cartel, and you know I don't even know any of Vibes Cartel. Maybe I'm too old, guys. You know, I'm too old. The Vibes Cartel and thing, and I'm too old. I don't know, man. But let's get back to this here. Um, this situation with the corrupt PPP regime. Corrupt PPP regime. Judge rules submissive EPA, meaning the Environmental Protection Agency, must enforce liability clause in Exxon's permits, meaning that if there's a spill or whatever, then Exxon would have to pay for that. But lo and behold, this is what the PPP that some of them think that, oh, the PPP is a caring regime. That's what some of them think. And they're going to bond together to tell you that, to spread that propaganda, spread the lies to you when the evidence is glaring. Government vows. Now, which government would fight against its own people? I repeat, which government would fight against its own people like the PPP is doing? Which government will do that? Well, we already know which government is doing that. The PPP is doing that. The PPP is doing just that. So I don't know what exactly they're talking about, that this is a one Guyana and that the government, the installed PPP regime is for all Guyanese. That is not true. It is not true at all. And more, Errol Gonzalez, you are correct. The new donkey name should be Nandalal. Well, we have quite a few names that we could just put all of them under the umbrella. All of them. But again, the question is, which real government would do that? Which real government would do that? The PPP regime is a shameless regime. The PPP regime, apart from the fact that they're punishing their own supporters, they are also targeting persons of African descent. Targeting in an attempt to destroy them. While some may jump up and say cleaning drains and gutters is what they have reduced persons of African descent to. And yet they are the few of them who seem to believe that nothing is wrong with these sort of things. Now, a job is a job, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to put only one set of people to clean drains and gutter, well, then it tells me that something is wrong. And those who cannot see that something is wrong with this, then something is definitely wrong with those who do not see anything wrong with this. That this is what they believe, and this has been consistent with the PPP, to give persons of African descent crumbs to go into their communities and do what? Clean drains and clean gutters. And what else the PPP is doing, they're going into these communities and they're looking for those who have, let us say, a little jail record, in and out of jail, kind of like a semi-bad man, so to speak, in some of these communities. And they're putting them as, not leaders, but they're putting them to watch over the communities where they are recruiting young black men and women to go and clean gutters. And when they give out these so-called contracts to these individuals and they take photographs and so forth and so on with them, people would think that those are the people who have gotten the contract, when in fact the contract is not in their names. The contract is being controlled of the likes of Kwame McCoy and that criminal, Jason Abdullah. That is what is happening. And look at all of them who are under one umbrella now, speaking one language, the PPP's language, Jagdeo's language, in order to recruit people. And some of them are going to try to think that they're fancy and they could package their propaganda properly in an attempt to brainwash individuals. It is not working. It is just not working. Do not buy into that, my friends. Do not buy into that. Just do not buy into that. I'm looking at some of your comments, guys, because remember, just a few minutes that I have on here, right? Just a few minutes I have here. And it's arrival day. So why don't we, hey, I don't want Facebook to cut me off with this, but I'll play just a 1 minute of this African song. This was my favorite when I used to host Music Africa. Music Africa. We need a lot of that in Guyana as well. So just like how I can sing and they got others, maybe Lynette Nelson, maybe Onisa Wardeen, Aubrey, Ruben, and Ronaire Season. Forget about Francine Cruz, and they look like they know Indian songs. But the objective was to wake up and let African people in Guyana, the younger generation, embrace their culture. Nothing is wrong with an African culture. Nothing is wrong with being proud of who you are. But something is wrong with when you sell out for a bowl of soup, cow heel soup. I used to love this song. I still do. 1 minute of it. I just want us to relax our minds as we expose the installed, corrupt, racist PPP regime, unpatriotic PPP regime. Enjoy this one here. It's called Carolina. When y'all have time, y'all go and y'all watch some nice African stuff and play it as well. Balance things out in one people, one nation, Guyana, not just what they're trying to brainwash us about one Guyana, when in fact there's really no one Guyana. But let's get back to this here, because I just have a few more minutes. Let's get back to this here. Oh, sorry. What's going on? Why is Lemony even showing this here? We have far better things to deal with than an individual just probably has lost his mind, like a couple others that we know about. So they all could go under the same umbrella. In fact, they came from the same umbrella. So let them head right back there. We have far better things to talk about, far better things to deal with. But what is your take, though, please, on this situation here with the PPP, the unpatriotic PPP regime that has appealed this matter here? Unpatriotic. Just imagine if there is an oil spill tomorrow or today, God forbid. The PPP is basically saying that no, let Guyanese punish. And they're not going to protect you, the Guyanese people, regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of who you are, regardless of whether you're in the closet still with your red t-shirt or not, regardless of who you are. The PPP is basically saying they don't give a damn about you, the Guyanese people. All they care about is the big businesses, the big foreign companies coming to Guyana that are getting hundreds of millions of duty-free concessions and all manner of things. They're getting hundreds of acres of land. Mind you, hundreds of acres of lands. All of that they're getting. Every single thing they are getting. Every single thing they are getting. And the PPP basically is, sorry, the PPP basically is protecting those big companies. They are selling you guys out for crumbs. And so, again, God forbid, if there was a spill, oil spill, the PPP is basically saying, y'all, and I repeat, the PPP is basically saying, y'all depend y'all own, and might end with how some of you guys interpret that MS, whatever it means, right? At the end, y'all depend y'all own. You could add whatever you want to add at the end, MS or whatever. Y'all depend y'all own. That is what the PPP is saying to all Guyanese. Whether you're from Buxton, whether you're from Agricola, whether you're from Maibikuri, Blackbush Polder, you're from Alnis, Philippi, wherever you're from. Sophia, Linden, Ituni, Kokwani, Bartica, the regime is saying to hell with you guys, y'all depend y'all own. This, my friends, is all about corruption. And the sooner you guys get to realize, forget about the hustlers. The flatfoot hustlers will always be around. Whether there's a coalition government or not, the flatfoot hustlers will always be around. And the good thing is, though, we know who those flatfoot hustlers are. We know what they are about. Now, let me get some of your views. I want to read some of your views about this here. How do you feel about this situation? How do you feel about it? I see here Dexter Hillman. Good morning to you, sir, and thank you for your service. Extremely sad that the PPP is appealing Exxon's case. They have no interest in Guyanese safety. Any other country, the people would have already been out in the streets in their thousands. The people would have already been out in the streets in their thousands. I repeat, the people would have already been out in the streets in their thousands. But no, oh no, they're not going to do that. They're not going to be out in the streets in their thousands. Some of them prefer to remain in the closet with their red t-shirts, peep out, cuss, go on mad and go back in. Because they're not concerned about these sort of atrocities. They're not concerned about these things that the PPP is saying about Guyana and are doing to hurt Guyanese people. They're not concerned about that. The soft ones are not concerned about that. And so we have to be concerned. We have to continue to be concerned because it will affect all of us. Whether we own a radio station, whether we own some sort of chocolate factory or whatever, or whether we operate out of a cow pen or a goat pen, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. All will be affected. And you are correct, Dexter Hillman. You are correct, sir. And Dexter is saying that it's extremely sad, very sad. It's a sad day for all Guyanese. It's a very, very sad day for all Guyanese that the PPP has done this. Extremely sad that the PPP is appealing Exxon's case. They have no interest in Guyanese society. So true, Mr. Hillman. So true. They have absolutely no interest in Guyanese people. None whatsoever. All right, good. I'm getting some messages from some folks. Albrecht Jr., good morning. Yes, Indian brothers and sisters arrived from India on this day, and that's why it's called Arrival Day, really. However, since it's Arrival Day, the first set of persons who arrived in Guyana as indentured servants were Africans. But this is not a program that I want to prove that who first come and who first in come. And it's not about that, but it's mainly about history. And oftentimes you don't see these things. You don't see these things. You don't learn about them on TV and so forth. And then the impression is that the only set of only black folks or African folks who went to Guyana were just slaves. They went to Guyana as slaves. They don't want you to know that Guyanese actually came to Guyana as indentured servants as well. Indentured servants. Now let's go back now. We see here, one Anthony is saying the PPP functions in a treasonous manner. Of course, in a treasonous manner. They all should be lined up next to a cow pen and be given spoiled cow milk, spoiled cow's milk to drink. I know you guys are watching when I said they all should be lined up, right? I know you're watching. I know you were listening as to what next, but I think I should be cow milk. Give them stale cow's milk to drink at a cow pen where they all belong. One Anthony is saying here, the PPP functions in a treasonous manner. They are protecting the interest of Exxon over Guyanese interest. See, this is where in any other country, thank you, Juan, for your comment. In any other country, the people of that country would have punished any political party, any government, be it in office through rig or whatever, would have punished that government. And the PPP, my brothers and sisters, the PPP needs to be punished. How do you punish them? Either through protest or through the ballot boxes. They can attempt to rig by 5,000, 6,000, or 10,000, which is what they have done and which is what they want to repeat. Forget about the noises being made by some of the little orangutans, them talking about, oh, we got to eat, we got to, forget about that. It's all about a day's survival for those guys, and I pity them. Let's look at the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? The survival of a country. A country should remain what it is 10, 15, 100 years from now, rich and beautiful. But no, under the PPP, that is not the case. They feel that only friends, family, and favorite, including some of the house slaves who have gone over to them, and some who are afraid to come out of the closet with their red t-shirts. But they're going to find all sorts of distractions. We here at 107.1 FM, we as a straight-up family, we as a 107.1 family, and I have all of you down as a family, we are not easily brainwashed at all. So we've got to remain focused. I noticed Bundari was saying something. Bundari was saying something. Bundari is always saying something, man. You know, I like you guys, right? Somebody's asking about a no confidence motion and so forth. Some of these, all of the MPs on the installed PPP regime side, they love the soup that they're drinking. And 2 or 3 of them wouldn't dare do what Charandas did. But if they were to do that, but let me show you how the coalition kind of messed up. They dropped the ball by entertaining that no confidence motion. They entertained the no confidence motion. They entertained it. You think the PPP would entertain a no confidence motion under that PPP Speaker of the House? Do you guys think that will happen? It would not happen. But under the coalition, it happened. Oh, let them go right ahead. Oh, you get a no confidence motion. Oh, because they're comfortable. Because they're comfortable. They were comfortable when they went to Charandas and said, Charan, I think it was Ramjatan went to Charan. Charan, you gonna vote against us? No, me? I'll never do that. This time Charan done sell out the BMW, done remove his stuff from his office in Kanji there and all manner of things. He done get the plane ticket in his hand. got Jerry Govaya sit down next to him, got Peter Ramstroop sat right behind him and everything, and y'all couldn't see them. Y'all couldn't see them. Some of them were too busy flipping lands. Flippers. These are the same people now talking about empowerment, and they didn't know about some of these people who flip lands, and some of them who are ashamed to come out of the closet with a red t-shirt. Suddenly they're concerned about their people. They're concerned about, can we all just live together now? They didn't know that when the coalition, some of them didn't know that when the coalition was in office and they were making hundreds of millions and they were enjoying themselves there. All sorts of allegations in terms of passport fraud, selling gun licenses to the Chinese. And while some of them were selling passports, guess what? They were endangering the US. You know how many nationals were caught with fake Guyanese passport at the border, Mexico-Texas border? You know how many? But I ain't gonna, as a result of, you know what? Good, but enough said of that for now, until further notice. Let's see what Francine is saying here. People stand up for him. We will take back all the land and give the land to their rightfully owners. Francine is in a fighting mood. Francine is in a fighting mood. A fighting mood. G1 says, Mark talk the truth. Is your buy Granger? I remember now when I used to open their eyes. All y'all eyes bundery about the coalition. Y'all didn't want to listen to me. But now y'all vex. And y'all say, oh, it's Granger, it's Granger. Remember, it was a coalition. And we don't see coalition lasting that long. Remember, Ramjatan and all of them in the AFC used to threaten that they're going to bring down the government and they're going to this. And if Ramjatan, they felt that this is their boy, that he talking the truth. G1, Bundari, me buying that. Me buying, y'all think the AFC was easy in the coalition? Y'all think? Y'all think so? Speaking of Granger, our operator just messaged me to say that he will be on at 11 o'clock. So we still have another 5 or 10 minutes more remaining. Let me see what else is on your mind. Again, Samuel Joseph is, Mark, if Jagdeo hasn't gone to jail, he should have been in jail. He should have been in jail. This man, like, you get lives, what is it? Cat lives 9. Well, if he get 9 lives like a cat, and he himself is a pussycat, it means he get 10 lives. He should have gone to jail. He should have been in jail. Listen to this for a couple of minutes, and I'll be back to talk to you about allegations that he has a Chinese bank account. A Chinese bank account. Y'all thought I was going to say that Azruddin Mohammed and them get a Chinese bank account now too. I wasn't going to talk about that. But I don't know if they have the Chinese bank account. I don't know what the permanent secretary who has gotten her U.S. visa revoked, whether it has been revoked as a result of her association with the Mohammeds, whether it's for money laundering. I don't know, mind you. She has to come out and tell all you that. But y'all listen to Vice News reporter and Jagdeo, and I'll be right back.
Source.
Okay, well,
Maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Zhirong?
So my relationship?
All right. Take a look at what's happening now. The connections with the Chinese. And now I don't hate China. I don't hate the Chinese. But look carefully at the political and the economic influence that is happening. Right? And I know if I can head back to China, but I was there for a couple of weeks and it was beautiful indeed. Beautiful. But when you look at the influence now that China has on Guyana, everywhere you walk down Regent Street, Chinese business. And do you know, quickly before I go, do you guys know that whenever you see all those containers of stuff coming in from China, Do you know it is being cleared by the Chinese embassy and that they do not pay duties on these things? If that is false information, then I wish that somebody could quickly answer that the Chinese do not pay duties at all. They do not pay duties at all. Not at all. Now we have Wayne with us this morning. Wayne, what is your take? Good morning to you, sir. What is your take on this whole issue where Jack Dio and Irfan and them have appealed ExxonMobil, this case? What is your take, sir?
Yeah, good morning, Mark. Morning, listeners and viewers. Well, my take on this, Mark, it shows obviously who's in control here, right? It shows that the PPP is in bed with ExxonMobil, and it's a crying shame because you know something, Mark. This further reveals what I always thought. That somehow or the other, ExxonMobil is aligning itself with the government. It also shows that the government is basically selling out Guyana to the highest bidder, and they don't care about the welfare of the citizens of the country. Because, Mark, all right, if you're telling a huge oil company that they would not be responsible to the extent there's an oil spill, right? How far you think that company is gonna go, to try to mitigate, an oil spill occurring? And where are we going to get the money, Mark, to do the cleanup? You're telling me that the little oil revenue that we're getting from this deal, that's what we're going to use to do the cleanup to the extent there is an oil spill. And what's worse is that the judge made a ruling and the PPP is appealing the ruling. Now, I would think that that would be the last nail in their coffin. If the Guyanese people have any sense at all, you would not vote for a government who does not care about you. There is no way that I would vote for a government that does not care for my welfare.
Absolutely, and that is making a heck of a lot of sense. It is making a lot of sense. Who would want to vote for such a unpatriotic regime? Jack Dave has always been unpatriotic, right? Has always been unpatriotic. Remember what he did to Venezuela when he said that he wanted to give a piece of Guyana, a piece of Essequibo to Venezuela. Jack Dave said that we're not making these things up. But look at what they have done to Guyana. Look at what they have done to the Guyanese people now, Wayne Caesar. In fact, I was just told by our operator, Lemon, that we have half hour more. So we're not coming off in a couple of minutes or whatever. We will be off in another half hour or so. But continue. You remember what he did to Venezuela, right?
Yeah. Well, Mark, when you look at Barra Jagdio.
Well, let me just welcome Indra. Indra, how are you doing? Indra made a good point here, Jai Prasad. Indra is saying, here is where we should take to the streets. That is so correct. What we protect for the street for, Abina take to the street for. Here is where we should take to the streets. But you don't want to take to the streets. You want to take people and talk dotishness in cow pens and all these sort of things and talk about, and this, and we all should live together. Well, how could we live together under an oppressive government? Indra, if I were next to you, look, cheers. You deserve a hug for this. Let's take to the streets. J.R. Crawford, what's going on? Why is it that people are so quiet? J.R. doesn't want to show his face because he is probably training his horses and so forth and so on. JR, good morning, sir. I got your co-host Wayne Caesar with us. Morning, comrade.
Morning, guys. Morning, everyone.
Morning, JR.
How come people are so quiet, man? They're not taking to the streets. The PPP is appealing something that would eventually, probably, or could possibly affect all Guyanese. Your take, sir.
Yesterday, I had some conversation with some PPP supporters, and they're all upset at Nanlal and the others for trying to go to court to go against the decision of Sandil Kisoon. And they're complaining that they're seeing that the PPP does not care or concern for the general population, but for themselves and their partners. And it shows clearly that Exxon is a backdoor dealer with the PPP, and we really need to address this issue. And that hence the reason when I was on the program the other night, I said when I listened to the confirmation hearing of the incoming ambassador, she made a statement that Guyana's oil sector is in good hands, and there were some not too contrite answers to the questions I put forward to her. So these are things that we need to get together and come and stop Exxon, because Exxon is clearly showing that they had a hand in lifting Mr. Granger's presidency back 3 years ago. And we all know what Exxon does when they go around the world in third world countries with mass oil wealth. It is left in a destructive state.
I mean, JR, when you
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Once you guys don't see me continue talking, you guys are also
Okay.
home.
yeah, no, I
Continue.
was just gonna follow up with what JR was talking about when Exxon going to these other countries. What happened after they leave? The country is left in complete disarray and economically unstable. But you know what? I'm gonna say this: the Exxon and whatever other oil companies are out there, you guys are dealing with Guyana, and we don't take things easily just like that. You guys are not going to come and tear apart the fabric of our country and just walk out. So I would say you guys need to really clean up and come again. This is not all about money. Okay, human life always trumps money, because in order to spend money, you first must have life. And if they could afford to have their high level life, I believe that the normal Guyanese should also be able to have a good life, a life that is financially stable.
When not only that, this is where the opposition needs to hit the ground running with these issues to alert the Guyanese, the average minded Guyanese, that their future and the future of their children to come are not being taken into consideration. And hence the reason not to support the PPP at the local election, if there is any, and at the next election, because they are not showing that they are concerned about where the country goes in the long term. They're concerned about who gets paid. And it goes back to what I was saying, 90% of the country is going to always be scratching for a living, while the 10% inside the circle live high in the hog because of these illegal dealings and these disrespect to the people of Guyana. So we should see our elected officials hammering this home to the supporters and also those who support the PPP that look, the case, the judge issued a mandate that Exxon must have insurance in case of an oil spill. But here is it that your party people are going to the courts to block the safety net for all of us. So this is a reason that you must walk away from the PPP support camp. So we are having all the options now to expose the wrongdoing, and let's hope that the leaders take this and use it to their advantage.
When we're talking about oil spill here and we're talking about insurance, JR, that insurance is very, very expensive. Okay. So to the extent the ExxonMobil does not have to pay that insurance, that's more money under the table, more money laundering under the table going into Jack Dion's goons' pockets.
You are
You understand
certainly
me?
correct on that
These
point.
guys, JR, these guys, when we look at government, we look at policy makers. These guys are not policy makers, man. These guys are just a set of hood rats that is governing a country that was placed there to just rip off the Guyanese people and bully them.
Well, Wayne, we have to blame ourselves as citizens of Guyana to allow elected officials to do as they please as if it's a private entity. And
JR, they weren't elected.
well, you understand what I'm talking about. And a lot of people are not paying attention. They're trying to privatize every single thing. That is a dangerous thing for Guyanese people to deal with down the road. Yes, there is a method to stop these people, but there have to be a change of government to cripple the evildoers. But in this at this moment now, we need to start to educate ourselves as to what are the benefits and what are the services and goods that we are receiving as Guyanese people from the people that are installed. And we must go very hard against the US embassy for their participation. The few in the US with the Trump cronies, the British High Commission, the Canadian High Commission, they were very, very vigilant to dethrone Mr. Granger. And now, when you're seeing the resources of this country is being brutalized by a selective few, we are not seeing these people opening their mouth. It is clear as day. You don't need any COI to say that these people are complicit. Because if you are in a person's country as an ambassador or a high commissioner, you are to make sure that things are on a level playing field, not to go and be a crony into corrupt people's backyard party and all these things and running onto our national platform as if you are a minister of our government. You can find a concerned naturalized American going onto the podium with an elected official in the United States and having all this yapping about. You'll be kicked out, and so these are the disrespect to us.
Absolutely, because you can't see Sam Hines walking around doing certain things either. But Mr. Crawford and Mr. Caesar, let's welcome Jason Benjamin. Mr. Benjamin, good morning. We want to get
Morning, sir.
We want to get your take.
Morning.
We want to get your take on what the PPP has done, the PPP regime has done with regards to this particular issue. Government vows to fight judges' ruling ordering Exxon to fully compensate. Imagine a government fighting against its own people. Your take, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And to the Guyanese people, I urge you to be wise and understand what is unfolding around you in our beautiful country. It's an economic apartheid, as we know, but generally speaking to Exxon's issue. Clearly, like my colleague said, Exxon is in bed with the wicked PPP regime. And it hurts to see that the people who are supporting the People's Progressive Party do not have a mind of their own to recognize that how can you defend your child at home when they're doing a wrong, but yet on the outer skirt, when the PPP is doing a wrong to you and denying everyone that right to which they're rightfully entitled to, you're not saying anything. And so while we may be the ones pushing back and raising the voice or sensitizing others, it is important that we all come together, unite, and take a stand, because PPP is bad business for Guyana and for its people. If we are to really succeed going forward, we have to set the records straight. And the only way to do that is not just sitting and talking, but unite, protest, push back. We need it, and the power is in your finger to make that mark. Thank you.
Absolutely well said. Jason Benjamin is a former, he was, in fact, a former
President
of the Guyana UG, the University of Guyana Student Association. He was very active. He's very active as well in North America. But gentlemen, let's quickly go to this that is happening right now, please. This is what's happening right now. It's a protest march led by Glenn Lal. I'm going to look to see if there's any opposition MPs and so forth. And people get upset when we say, but look at what's happening here now.
That's what they have just announced to the world. They found in Guyana And now, yes, now, what are we the owners getting out of it? This is the part I want no Guyanese ever to forget. We are heading down the road, down the ladder into poverty. I asked my staff if they would allow me to come in their yard, pick their mangoes, break up the fence, the bridge, plus the yard, and the money we're receiving, or the money I am giving them, cannot even put back a piece of wood on the broken bridge. They said, what? What, Mr. Lal? I had to smile and say, yes. This is where Guyana stands with that Exxon bare-faced contract. Don't big up on yourself about that 219 we're getting and smile, you know. That money cannot and will never be able to patch the roads alone that the oil company is destroying in the fight to grab this treasure trove. Let me ask this. Since when a man can walk in your yard, carry away your wealth, and left you with a damaged yard, broken fence, plus a broken down bridge, in which you got to go to the bank to take loans to fix it?
Absolutely. Good question, Glenn Lal there. Good question. We see Glenn Lal with the umbrella. And here's where you respect somebody who is holding his own umbrella. Good.
I see Terrence Moore is there too, sitting on the pickup there.
So what's happening there? What's going through your mind? Not sure who Terrence Moore is, but what's going through your mind, Mr. Wayne Caesar?
Well, Mark, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Glenn Lal and his team for their efforts here. What's going through my mind is that this group of individuals are being frontal. They're saying that they are not going to handle the oppression of the PPPC regime. And, I would have liked to see this effort be more of a collective effort along with the opposition. And we get some more people, to be a part of this exercise. Even if you have to, come off and walk 2 miles and then go to work and stuff, but we need more support here. And I think that's one of the things that we're missing on. We don't have these exercise, coordinated amongst the different groups who are, fighting against this dictatorship government. And I say dictatorship government, the PPP is a dictatorship. Sure, Siran Lynch, you have some nerve talking about democracy in Guyana. Mark,
All right, so we are joined by the economic advisor for the leader of the opposition, Elson Lowe, someone who Parajagdeo loves to mention his name. I am not sure. Every single minute is Elson Lowe. Elson, what have you done to Parajagdeo, man?
I'm telling you, man. Someone told me the other day they had to Google who is this Low man because they're hearing the name calling. So I can only say thanks for the publicity. But what we really want is that Jagdeo is not leveling personal attacks. What we really want is for him to address the issues, because there are some very serious issues we're dealing with right now, especially in the oil and gas sector.
Absolutely. Very serious indeed. Welcome on board, and good morning to all of you who have just joined us. We're discussing this issue here where the government vows to fight judges' ruling ordering Exxon to fully compensate Guyana for oil spill. Mr. Elson Lowe, you made mention of this yesterday at the press conference. Talk to us a little bit, please. How dangerous is this?
Well, one of the interesting things is it's almost beyond belief. But when do you see a government challenge a ruling that is in the favor of the government? And so this is a ruling that has come, which has mandated that the operator of offshore Guyana in the Stabroek block provide the level of insurance that is stipulated in the permit that allows them to operate offshore, the environmental permit. And so the ruling is just that the operator needs to comply with the permit. Now, in what world would a government want to appeal such a decision when that is the permit that they have themselves put forward. Those are the permits that our country has put forward. It is akin to a company paying taxes and the government going and filing a case against this company paying what it is that they are due to pay. It is manifestly ridiculous, absurd, and frankly, as we've indicated, it is totally unpatriotic. Because the reason that there's such I think such a focus on the insurance issue is that oil spills are incredibly expensive to clean up, tens of billions of US if they're bad. And we as a country have to recognize that we're not going to have one or two FPSOs, the ships that extract the oil offshore Guyana. We could have as many as 14. That's a possibility. So if we're going to have the attitude that we're just going to have minimal insurance and hope that nothing happens, you're going to hope that nothing happens with all 14 of these vessels. I mean, this is ridiculous. We have to take this more seriously.
We definitely have to take this more seriously, Mr. How? Because I can see the disappointment in your face. In fact, all of you guys. But what is your take, Jason, again, in terms of in any other country, we know that country would have been shut down, but we're not seeing that. Guyanese are taking too much for granted, huh?
My take on it has to do with more the young people, because from the position in which I speak, I sit here with a single heart representing many voices, especially in Guyana. And from that line of fire, one of the things that would definitely bother the young people is the motive behind this corrupt regime, PPP, that installed regime. To know that, okay, what about the sovereignty of this country? We already seeing how the cost of living is escalating and so on. Guyana is the only country that I have known so far that engages Exxon without the country being paid a stipend or whatever. And to see that none of those things were catered for, yet the contract, everyone who involved in the contract takes some form of responsibility when it comes to what it is currently. But to see we made errors, we made mistakes, and yet we're at a position where we can change the trajectory. And more so, this is the first time, in my opinion, that the court ever point in a direction pointing to a positive tangent. But instead, we see the same heads who say one Guyana, I don't know what that means, turning a blind eye to go in support of the opposite. And so what we're seeing is more and more and more of the same, the revolving end. It's either we suffer or we fight back. And it's time Guyanese get up, because in the diaspora, we can do so much to motivate. Same as what Glenal is doing, to motivate. But again, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And if everyone can unite and put that energy together, we can force the PPP out of office. Thank you.
Absolutely. Not unite in a sense to join up and link up and hug up and kiss up. The PPP is the enemy of the people right now. The evidence is quite clear. Let's go back and hear what Glenal is saying right now.
It will become of Guyana and all of us if you people don't stand up and fight this fight, walk this walk to bring about the change.
What do you feel about the government appealing justice issue?
Oh gosh. Oh, you give me a heart attack with that one. Jack Dale never keep on promising, making us fools. Since he approved Lisa 3, he didn't secure insurance. He approved Lisa 4. He didn't secure us with insurance. Went and approved Lisa 5 just last week, Friday. And tell you guys believe this? You guys understand this? I can't find words sometimes to describe this man.
All of us, sorry about that, guys. All of us cannot find words to describe that political hooligan, Barra Jack Dale. Crawford, Where are they right now in the quarantine? I know that was earlier. They started from Skeldon. Have they passed Philippine Islands yet?
I don't know if I didn't see them in my area, but I passed them yesterday at number 59 village coming down.
Oh, they were
And
at number 59 village. Okay. Yeah.
right. And that was about one something.
Okay. Let's get back to Elson Low. 214 million US dollars missing. The PPP is hiding. They don't want to explain. You explain it to the people. What's happening with that $214 million? Now, mind you, before you respond, they were jumping on the mountaintop to talk about some 80 million signing bonus under the APNU AFC regime. But they can't talk to the Guyanese people now and tell the Guyanese people where is the 214 million US dollars. You tell us, Mr. Lowe.
Yes, absolutely. Well, before I lean into that, I just want to explain a bit what Glenal was saying there.
Sure.
It wasn't too clear. What he's saying is that the government has been approving new oil developments, as many as 5 developments, without ensuring that adequate insurance provisions, which is what the court has ruled should be in place, are in place. And so the risk continues to increase because you're not seeing these insurance provisions be in place. The amount of oil is being produced continues to increase. And so we have to be increasingly concerned. As I mentioned earlier, are we going to have all 14 ships operating offshore and not have insurance? I mean, that is really, really crazy. That's I think what Mr. Glanlal was trying to say there. Now, as it concerns the $214 million, just to help the audiences to get a sense of it, we had the coalition commissioned an audit of the operators' expenses to date. And we are supposed to regularly audit the operator to see whether what they're charging us, of course, they recover this money from the oil revenues, whether from the oil that's produced, whether what they're charging us is correct, and whether they should be removing, the revenues that they're removing. Now, that audit was finalized really in 2021, and the government has hidden the results of that audit for about 2 years now. They've claimed that they've had to go back to the operator to find out, clarify some information. But just the other day, they mentioned that with the second audit, they only needed 2 months to clarify. So if you only needed 2 months to clarify, why have you been hiding this audit for 2 years? So that, I think, has alarmed quite a lot of people. Now, the amount, the results of the audit were leaked. And we've seen that there's 214 million US of questionable costs and other things that Guyana could realistically look to recover. Now, the government has been hiding that fact from the Guyanese people for 2 years. I've said previously that, first of all, it should be a criminal offense not to audit Exxon because of the amount of money that's involved. But second of all, that it should be a criminal offense to audit them and then hide the results of the audit, because that's just the same as not auditing them. And so the government has been hiding this 214 million US for 2 years now. Now, of course, they like to talk about the 18 million sign-in bonus and so on, and claim that the opposition was hiding, that the then government was hiding that. But that money was lodged in the Bank of Guyana. There were multiple signatories there, and so it's not to say that the money was someplace that where no one knew about it. This 214 million, first of all, has been hidden. But second of all, it's not clear how the government is going to recover these monies and what they're going to do with these monies once recovered. And if they're even going to make any move to recover these monies, because they have shown a great deal of disinterest and reluctance to engage with the topic, the question of Guyana's audits. In fact, we in the opposition, as well as civil society, had to force the government to conduct the second audit, which is an audit of even more money. We have to use all sorts of language, like saying, again, it should be a criminal offense not to audit and these types of things. And in fact, they actually missed the deadline by which that audit should be conducted. And that has raised some serious questions as to whether we'll be able to recover the funds that audit may reveal. And if it is anything like the previous audit, this means that there's around about 900 million, around about $1 billion, give or take, of $1 billion US at stake here. So if you can imagine that the government is knowing full well that they needed to audit, knowing full well that the government is going to miss the audit deadline and put nearly $1 billion US in jeopardy. mean, what government would do something like that? That is crazy. $1 billion US, not not is enough money to fund a huge amount of public services in Guyana. This is not chump change we're talking about. That is several times the cost of Skeldon, as an example, which was at the time the biggest investment, public investment in Guyana. So what has happened is that there are serious concerns around the audits in Guyana. There's billions of dollars at stake here, and there's a feeling that the government doesn't intend to properly deal with these monies, to pursue them, to audit on time. And if you add this up over the life of the oil and gas industry, you're talking about tens of billions of US that are at stake. And so this is as large scale an issue as any that we're facing. And the government has, I think, filled Guyanese with a great deal of distrust and fear that they are willing to let those tens of billions of dollars go down the wayside, whether they're trying to steal them, whether they're trying, whether it is extreme levels of incompetence. Those are things for the Guyanese public to decide for themselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Elson Lowe. 70 minutes after 11 o'clock. Mr. Caesar, all of these things we're hearing. Mr. Crawford, Mr. Benjamin. This is kind of like reminiscent of when Jack Day wanted to give a piece of Essequibo to Venezuela. Crawford, your take on all of this that's happening and giving a piece of to Venezuela, and now they are very unpatriotic, appealing something that will benefit the Guyanese people.
Now, it's laughable when they're going against their own. They're in court to make Exxon comfortable. While listening to El Sunday just now, possibility of us where money is being missing and being unaccounted for. It's a good thing in a sense, because what we need now is the opposition to go on the frontal attack and go reach to the people on the ground. These are instances where you show the people, look, some of you voted for these people, and this is what is going on. And we are losing the opportunity to provide better goods and services for our people. And we are catering up to the international crooks. And this is where eventually this thing is going to lead to PPP being thrown out of office if we have the right and smart approach. All of these negatives right now could be very, very effective against the PPP down the road. So I do hope that the people who are not aligned with the PPP will pick these happenings up and use it to their advantage to educate the Guyanese citizens. Also, we need to start to be able to talk to other members, regardless of which little party they support. Everybody will be able to help in a way to dethrone this organization, because they're being backed by international bigwigs who don't give a damn about Guyanese people. All they want is the wealth. And Exxon has been blowing up a lot of profits, and Guyana has not seen anything significant.
Thank you so much.
Anil is going to look foolish with that appeal against Sandil's decision, because only an idiot will not want to have a safety net, as Elson was just describing earlier. So what we are seeing is that these people are self-destructing because they have become too cocky with those crooked backers that they had, that they could disrespect the majority of Guyanese people, albeit for a little personal gain, how much bank account or how much they have. And this is where we need to get the people involved, educate them that, hey, there is nothing wrong with us having political differences, but we must unite against abuse and neglect. And this is a perfect opportunity for the other parties to come out and help to stop the free flow of the PPP with squandering our monies.
Well said. Thank you so much, Mr. Crawford. We still have a few minutes remaining. Local government elections, and Mr. Elson Lowe, if you can just spare us a couple of minutes. I know you did say you have a meeting, busy there, economic advisor. Jagdev must be really, really jealous of that position you have. But let's get back to Mr. Benjamin. But before that, Mr. Caesar, you have something quickly to say about what's happening there and the unpatriotic move by the PPP regime?
Well, Mark, I look at it from a perspective that the PPP is not meeting their mandate of being transparent with the people of Guyana, as Elson is saying. The reports from these audits has not been transparent, and they should be public knowledge, if I'm correct, for the most part. And when we talk about all these missing monies, it is my belief that over the last 23 to 30 years, that anybody who had anything to do with government should be comprehensively audited. We need to check the assets of these people and to, really track where they would have earned these assets and where the money's coming from. Because when I look at Guyana, you know, I don't even want to say Guyana, you could just say money laundering, you know? Yeah, no, because it's obvious you're seeing all these look, these government officials, man, they are essentially public servants. Don't let's get carried away. And to see that it is the public servants who are putting up all these big buildings or are tied to all these huge constructions and everything that's going on in Guyana, it's a red flag. It's a huge red flag. And I feel the only way for us to be able to track the monies and track the movement of these large amounts of money that Elson just discussed. And I thought I heard Elson also on another program talk about a $60 million or $60 billion surplus that we had in the oil sector that they could have used, to but you could have given vouchers to the University of Guyana. People could have been getting a free education. We could have upgraded our
Absolutely.
hospitals. We could have done our post offices, our passport offices. We're not doing anything when it comes to services to the people, Mark. You guys recently see a new hospital was unveiled. What about Georgetown Public Hospital? That's what most Guyanese could afford. They cannot afford those private hospitals. They don't have the necessary disposable income and savings to go and pay at a private hospital, man. I think what the
Absolutely.
government is making Guyana unlivable for the people, and that's
Unlivable
not
for
right.
all Guyanese, and this is a wake-up call. Jason Benjamin, local government elections, lots and lots of fraud, lots and lots of forgeries on the part of the PPP. What's your take, sir?
One of the things that bothers me when it comes to the general events that are unfolding around local government elections, and coupled with Exxon too. Uh, Exxon is behind Exxon is behind this kind of movement too. What we're seeing, lots of presence of inside trading, which is fraud. When it comes to GCOM, we are also seeing where th- those who have that mantle to enforce and follow the guidelines to maintain integrity in that entity, we're seeing clearly it's subsiding, all because of crooked Claudette Singh, who deviated from what she would have initially boldly and publicly said she would have stand for integrity, but instead we see she's slipping in the bedrocks of the abyss and in bed with Jack Dio. So these kind of deliverables are affecting because it confuses the young people as to why would I even want to go there? It's best I look elsewhere for support or so on. And so poverty and squalor do lead to a feeling of dispossession. But what I must say is that we can sit here and do so much talking and saying the right things, but the important thing is for the people on the ground to get up and act. But for them to do that, we need some form of leadership, and I mean active leadership. Look at Glenn Lal, for example. He published it in the papers, but guess what? He's out in the streets to defend what he's publishing. And so we need to see these little pockets, these different groups coming together with one mindset, enforcing the PPP hands, because only one thing they understand is pressure. And the people
Absolutely.
of Guyana need to pressure the PPP either to do the right thing or to force them out of government. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Can't disagree with you on that. Force them out of government. Force them. Force them. Indeed. Elson Lowe, local government elections. Anything else?
Yes, well, I think what has alarmed many Guyanese is that you've seen these many hundreds of alleged forged signatures across as many as 5 different regions of the country. And GCOM has been totally inactive and said that they're not even going to engage with that issue, despite the fact that you've actually seen police reports on this. Despite the fact that you've seen people come out to say that their parents who are now deceased are included on these lists, people have come out to say that they haven't been back to Guyana for several years and their name is appearing on these lists. So we want to see GCOM take a much more active role in dealing with this, because we need to ensure that there's confidence in our elections, that there's confidence in our electoral process, because we want to ensure that whatever the results of the election, that Guyanese have confidence in it. But sadly, GCOM has not been doing anywhere near as much as it needs to do, despite really widespread allegations. Across. I mean, Guyana only has 10 regions, and 5 of them have massive amounts of allegations. I mean, the extent of it is really quite disturbing, to the point that it is hundreds of signatures and so on that we're looking at.
Absolutely. We are joined by Member of Parliament Annette Ferguson. Ms. Ferguson, good morning. Welcome. Your take, please, on this appeal.
A pleasant morning to you, Mark. Morning to the handsome gentleman you have on the program here, and to your wonderful viewers. A pleasant morning, and all. Just allow me to extend happy arrival day to all Guyanese. Mark, in relation to the question regarding the recent judgment by Justice Kisoon. First, I want to commend Mr. Kisoon for his judgment. I guess this is something all Guyanese have been waiting for. And since the judgment, we have heard the government through as his recent person going to appeal this decision. Now, Mark, I think the decision with what is expected of them. It clearly says to me, as an individual, as a Guyanese who lives here in Guyana, put aside me being a politician, but as an ordinary Guyanese, right? I will say that this current regime has absolutely no respect, no regards for one, the Constitution, two, the laws of this country, and thirdly, right, they have no compassion, they have no love for their fellow Guyanese. Now tell me which government in the rightest sense something. But I haven't come across any case where a government might have been, an agency of the government that was taken to court, and because of the judgment not favorable to that agency, the government will now turn around and appeal against its own laws. Something is definitely wrong, Mark. It clearly says to me that this government favors the likes of Exxon and all the other big oil operators in this country over its citizens in this land. So we all just gotta wait and see, whenever the case is appealed, how the next tier of the judiciary will treat with it. But I'm quite upset, and I guess many Guyanese are upset with the approach by this PPPC uncaring regime.
Absolutely. Lots of Guyanese are upset. Lots of Guyanese are starting to take to the streets. We have Glenn Lal and his crew out there on the quarantine, are walking from Skeldon all the way to New Amsterdam, from New Amsterdam all the way to Georgetown. This is really, really good. Um, we want to talk, since they're an appeal, everything they're appealing now. They're appealing the Paul Slow matter, even though the judge did rule. The judge said, look, Irfan Ali violated the Constitution. Everything they're appealing now, even the elections petitions that they all so badly wanted, they kept appealing everything. All these appeals, Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, absolutely. You would think that as a government which claims that they want to enforce the rule of law, that they would respect judgments which uphold the rule of law. And really, what we saw with the judgment by the recent judgment regarding insurance in oil and gas activities is that our court system has upheld the rule of law. It is the government which is undermining the rule of law. That is what is going on. And that is really the opposite of what you are supposed to be seeing. Normally, it is that individual companies will try and sue the government to get out of an obligation, whether it is a regulation or taxes or something to that effect. It is not not the government that will itself be trying to undermine the system. But that is what we are sadly seeing. That's what we're seeing across in many areas. And again, it really raises a lot of alarm bells. Now, one of the things we really want to point out to citizens, because they may say, "Oh, they're tired of these issues. They're tired of hearing all of this." But what we have to try and help citizens to understand is, it's not that Guyana is going to be producing oil for the next 5 minutes. We're going to be producing oil for a long time. And so we have to take the right approaches to ensure that the industry is sustainable and to ensure that we manage the industry well. It is not realistic for us to not be properly insured and have as many as between 10 and 14 offshore vessels producing oil. That's not a sustainable solution. Something has to be done, and we have to deal with this properly.
Absolutely. Something has to be done. It has to be dealt with properly. We're looking at the time indeed. Let's see who we can go back to right now. Mr. Benjamin. All that is happening, all
Yes,
the
I
appeals.
yes, I was just about to ask you permission to comment on that note.
Sure.
What can we do right now? If we look at the holistic view of everything playing into Exxon and the government, what we are seeing is that Exxon really would not like to have protests in Guyana because the international stakeholders, they will be concerned about coming there to invest and so on. And obviously, it would force the hands of the government to do the right thing. But for that to happen, again, I'm going to use your platform to call on us Guyanese who are sitting idly by in some instances, but to come together, we have to unite and force the PPP out. It's no good for Guyana. It's bad business. And on this note, to my East Indian brothers and sisters, happy Indian Arrival Day. But I'm using this platform also to urge you to do the right thing. As Martin Luther King Jr. tells us, the time is always right to do the right thing. Let's save Guyana. Thank you.
Absolutely well said. Let us touch, let's see who closing remarks, Mr. Caesar, please.
Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Not
hear you
sure.
loud and clear because things are
Yes.
not regular in Guyana. Lots of corruption, all manner of things happening. A regime that is unpatriotic. The people need to gather out to get these criminals out of office. Criminals like Barra Jagdeo and his cronies out of office. Your closing remarks, please, Mr. Caesar.
Well, Mark, I remember when the PPPC first got in, when they claimed that they won the election in 2020 and they got into power. They said that they're going to be there for the next 35 years. That being said, at the present moment, we have them on the back foot, and we need to keep them on the back foot because we're on the front foot and we intend to stay on the front foot. This government, I find it hard to believe that they are going to
All right. Mr. Caesar seemed to be having some technical difficulties at his end. Are you back with us, sir? Go ahead. Can
Yes, 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 Mark, I'm here. Yeah, I'm getting some internet issues, it appears
Sure, go ahead,
here.
please. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I was saying, this government is just here to continue to oppress and marginalize Guyanese. We're not going to allow it anymore. We're on to them. I don't think that the PPP has a strategy, but I must say to Elson and to Annette, you guys are both part of the coalition, and you guys should really, really start putting plans in place to take over the reins of Guyana. I'm definitely confident that there's going to be a regime change in Guyana, and we have to be prepared to take the country by the horns and govern it correctly. And to ExxonMobil, I would say this: you guys should just go ahead and do the right thing, okay? And buy your insurance. You're going to need it. And based on what Elson is saying, to have 14, 15 ships out there, that creates more risk, when it comes to the possibility of an oil spill, as opposed to having 4 or 5 ships. To have 15 out there, it's definitely more risk, and ExxonMobil should do the right thing. And also to them, it's not a bad thing to have to deal with a coalition government. One thing that we can tell you is that things are going to be done right. We wouldn't be passing stuff under the table.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Caesar, for your closing remarks. Mr. Crawford, please.
Mark, the time is right for us to start to show up the British High Commission office, the U.S. Embassy before Lynch leaves. That there, you need to be there. They need to be there, especially the PNC, every single day until she leaves this land. She has been a destructive element into the survival and the happiness of the Guyanese people. The new ambassador from Britain came in with a bundle of nonsense and disrespect about the list. She hasn't been here. All they're thinking about is how they're going to fleece the economy to support their homeland. We must guard against people brutalizing us. We also need to live a proper 21st century life. We also must start to be unified as a nation where the two major races, Indian and Black, who must know that they cannot survive without each other, to stop being racist against each other. And the few who are using their political connections and their positions to fleece Guyana, we must use blunt force to disarm them and disrupt their behavior. We have our people that are suffering. We do not need a few to be milking our resources and having us in a backward state of mind and living condition. With that said, I do hope Annette and Elson, who are elected official in the PNC, that you guys will and keep going, and not for a week or 2 weeks. You guys cannot have Benchop and Burke beating the drum all day long to get you guys on the road. If you guys are elected, get the work done or release yourself from the position.
All right. Thank you so much. Brute force with the ballot boxes. Go there and exercise your brute force by voting them out of office. Ms. Ferguson, it's really nice to have you join us, even though it's the last minute. I thank you so much, though. But your closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you, Mark. I just want to say thank you for inviting me to share this platform with my 4 brothers. That being said, I want to support all the points put forward by them. And I will end by saying to all my Guyanese brothers and sisters, we have seen the People's Progressive Party Civic for who they really are. Since coming into government by installed means, albeit in August of 2020, they are yet to sit down and strategically plan for, at the macro level, to move this country forward. Guyanese continues to suffer, to be oppressed, to be discriminated. We're still dealing with the issue of the high cost of living. And from my advantage point, all is in infrastructural development, whether roads, bridges, building big buildings, whether hospitals, hotels. That's where the interest lies, because that's where the corrupt practices occur. So they don't care about us at the micro level, what they can do to change and improve the lives of Guyanese. The budget for 2023, Mark, promised a prosperity for all, prosperity for all. And you got to ask the question, who is really prospering? It can't be the one Guyana, one people, one nation, the one people, one nation in this country. But it seems to me it is one Guyana for a few, the elites, 5%, who are enjoying the benefits from this government. So I would say to my brothers, we have the opportunity come June the 12th to reject the People's Progressive Party Civic at the local government elections. We cannot allow them to govern whether the city of Georgetown, the township of Linden, New Amsterdam, and the NDCs that we control, because we've seen their operations at the central level. And the time will come when we will say enough is enough under a PPPC dictatorship, wicked, evil, and vindictive regime. So I will close with those few remarks, Mark.
Thank you so much. Well said, Mr. Elson Law. Your closing remark, please. And let's hope that that criminal, that corrupt individual, that criminal Barra Jagdev is watching. Go ahead, please.
Well, what we need to emphasize, and Ms. Ferguson has touched on that there, is that we need to use our vote to get the PPP out of office. We need to use our vote to bring about change in Guyana. What really I think is, and you try to break this down for citizens, is that it is really crazy that we have to be talking about basic things like whether or not you're doing your audit on time, whether or not you're doing a feasibility study, whether or not you actually are enforcing your existing rights, whether you have insurance. I mean, these things are basic things. This is not the type of complex topic that you would expect to have to be fighting over. These are the bare minimum things that the government is not doing. And so what we want to convey to the Guyanese people is the government is so disinterested in good governance, so disinterested in the plight of ordinary people, and so disinterested in moving the country forward that even basic, normal, ordinary things that you shouldn't have to give two thoughts to, they are not doing. That is the core of what is going on. And that is what is exposing Guyana to all manner of risk, where you have billions of dollars of US on the line in more than one way, and where you have all of these really anxieties that have to grip the Guyanese public. And so rather than us having an oil industry that brings us joy and is really a reason to celebrate, we're hit with all sorts of anxieties and fears that we should never have had to face in the first place. It's almost as if basic thing like brushing your teeth so you don't get cavities, that would be contentious for the PPP. I mean, come on, this is basic stuff. So anyway, from that perspective, I think that it is clear to citizens that if the government cannot even take seriously the most basic of issues, then just imagine when it comes to complex issues how they'll operate. And as a result, a time that should bring great optimism has filled Guyanese with great fear. The only way to deal with this is to remove this government.
Absolutely agreeing with you. Everything, removing this criminal government, removing these criminals from office, and especially that criminal Bharat Jagdev. Again, I repeat, that criminal Bharat Jagdev. Mr. Jason Benjamin, your closing remarks, please.
Well, from where I stand, again, I would definitely like to appeal to our brothers and sisters in Guyana, especially young people, to wake up and understand that Now is the time to take a firm stand and recognize that you too have a voice in society and can make that mark if we work together. Importantly, listen to your seniors. We have to teamwork. We have to tag team. Don't allow people to tell you about wearing red jerseys and all these nonsense. The PPP is bad business for Guyana. We have to take that stand. You university students, those elites, you too need to take that stand wherever you are, wherever you go. Together we are in this struggle, and wherever we are, we deserve good. Guyanese people deserve the best. And then in closing, we have to put the PPP to rest. Finish with their no good for Guyana. Vote them out. Thank you.
Absolutely no good for Guyana. Vote them out. Mr. Wayne Caesar, thank you. Mr. J.R. Crawford, thank you. Mr. Elson Lowe, thank you. I know the next press conference, I don't know, you guys give Jack Deere sleepless nights. That guy, something is wrong with that guy in his brain. Whenever you do see him, if you run into him in the streets, maybe at wherever, just tell him Sue is looking for him. Sue is looking for him. Ms. Annette Ferguson, thank you so much too. Jason Benjamin, thank you as well. And to all of our listeners, thank you all. God bless you. Let's continue to keep hope alive. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, not too bad, right? Not too bad. The people are up in arms against the rigged, the PPP who has rigged its way into office. The people are angry. All of the people are angry at these criminals. Take a look at this criminal. Just take a look at this criminal. Gosh, bad news for Guyana. Bad news for Guyana. Nothing but a bunch of criminals. And we all know why they're doing what they're doing. They're just basically hustling. And it's a shame and disgrace. So when you see this criminal, ask him about whether he has a bank account in China. Hence, he can't say anything about the Chinese. Ask this criminal what's going on with Sue and why isn't there any investigations about the allegations made by Sue about corruption and corruption and corruption. Ask the criminal. Don't be afraid to confront this criminal. Please don't.
Okay, well,
maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sue Jerome?
Sue. Oh, Sue.
Exactly. Ask this criminal what's going on with Sue. He doesn't want to hear about Sue. Never mind. We already know what that criminal is up to. Let him reveal how much he has in a bank account in China, if in fact he has a bank account. He's not going to tell you guys, but let him talk about those sort of things. Do not trust that criminal. Do not trust those PPP criminals. Do not trust them at all. Look at what they have done. Unpatriotic bunch of vagabonds appealed a decision that would have been in benefit of all Guyanese. I don't know, something is wrong with that guy. I noticed that we have one of those good comments coming from Dolari. Dolari. We'll leave you guys with Dolari this morning. I love almost all of the comments that I've seen. Almost all of the comments. And when I saw Dolari with her comment, right away I'm like, we got to leave with this here. Happy arrival day to all Guyanese. God bless you all. See you guys later.
And I asked her for us to get married. So she said, let me go and I should it. But let me read me so what about the how are you going to be a German divide? How are you going to be now? In a bed to go in the market, but you don't want it to run. You not even you. Thank you. Arabi Kumari. How are you? But no, we don't jaman ke pai. How are you? But no, we don't. Ina pe popo yer di maake. But no, tumari turam. Tulari geti waju. But no, we don't. Tulari geti waju. But no, we
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.